Hello, welcome back. So this is kind of a setup for our repot of this one here that we saw in a previous video. So I will be putting her into a soak for a few hours, see if I can't get those roots to loosen up. And I do have a plan of how to get her out of this pot. I'm just not sure. But I thought before we started that video, I would show you the rest, I think, of what I've purchased since last we met. So these three miniature phals, I got all three of them at my local Lowe's. So this one here is the Jihaz Girl Pink. Jihaz Girl Pink. I'll show you a flower. Her flower has since been cut, and she's been growing this new leaf here. And they're all three in just these small wooden baskets with some moss in them. And I'm going to move them all off to the side as I talk about them so we can make some space. This one here is Phalaenopsis Young Home Godspeed, and I think Young Home is the nursery. And this is just something they named one of their hybrids. But isn't she pretty? Her blooms are starting to go over, so they're not as fresh looking, but she's still very pretty. And she's also working on this leaf as she's in bloom. And they all need water. I can tell by the weight. After you've watered your orchids a few times and kind of feel the weight on when they have water and then when they're empty, you can kind of know. Especially if they're being grown in all moss, you want to be careful not to keep the moss wet for too long. And then this one here is just another Young Home, and it's got a number after it. And then they've got the name Pink. But I think her blooms are more of a lilac color. They might show pink on the camera, but in person they have more of a fuchsia lilac-y color to them. And she's not growing a new leaf, but she is still in bloom. Again, blooms are going over. I've had them probably about a month now, and I bought them in bloom, so I knew they weren't going to last very long. And then we have this beauty, which I can't remember if I showed you guys this or not, but this, let me move this out the way because we can't see these gorgeous blooms. But this one here is the Phalaenopsis I Repot Venus, right there. And from, you know it, Brookside. So I got this one late July. I've only had her for a few weeks. But I did repot her because she had some root tips growing. But she's in a bark and moss mixture in this clay pot. And look at the blooms. Are those just not gorgeous? They're not fragrant. They're really very waxy. And for those of you who grow phals will know that the waxier the flower, the longer they'll last for you. I am probably going to cut one of these spikes just so she can start growing some vegetative stuffs, roots, leaves. But she's been in this pot for a couple of weeks, and she has not gone the opposite direction of the way we want our phals to go. But I just thought she was so pretty. It was another one of those, I need to add something in my basket to justify the shipping. And of course I had to pick a phal. Move her real quick. I'm so sorry. I hope you all are having a beautiful day today wherever you are. If you're in winter, I hope you're staying warm. If you're in summer, I hope you're staying cool. I'm going to use the little stand here because I got a Sonochi's Wine Delight. When she came, this growth right here had just started. Oh, and it's full of happy sap. Had just started, and it is just slightly bigger than the previous growth right here. Or I'm not sure if they both were growing together. This one finished because this one was already complete when I got it. She has grown, let's see, these two leaves right here in the middle, and she finished off this leaf while she's been in my care. She is in all moss in this clay pot. I have slow release fertilizer in here, and every time she gets water, she gets about 250 parts per million of fertilizer. And then once a week, I've been giving her 150 parts per million of CalMag. I'm not expecting her to bloom. If she does, I'll be over the moon. But she was not blooming size when I purchased her. I did get her from Brookside's. I did not get the label with this one for some reason, or I may have just thrown it away. I'm going to go with I threw it away because I've never received anything from Brookside's without a label. but she was near blooming size. So maybe next year I'll get a bloom, but I'm pretty proud of this fact here. And if I can move the camera slightly, she sits right over there by that east facing window and is loving life right now. So like I said, I'm not expecting a bloom, but oh my goodness, if she does, I'll be happy. I believe I still have a, what is it, the After Dark coming. I know it's a little late in the season to be buying those, but you know, there is next year. I can take care of it until it goes dormant for this year and then bring it back next year. And then I got, this was an anniversary for myself. I bought it on my anniversary back in May, and it is a Miltoniopsis, no ID. I'll post the pictures of her. She is absolutely gorgeous. She is still in her original pot, which looks like it just has the bark, but I'm sure there's a plug in there. And it could be 2 bulbs set in there to look fuller. But this one on this side has a new growth coming up right here, looking nice. And this one down here, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see, right here by my finger, can you see that new growth? Has that new growth. So I've only been watering her about once a week, just to make sure that if there is a sphagnum plug in there, I'm not keeping her too wet. I do know that Miltoniopsis prefer to keep their media damp, but I don't want to keep the moss wet, if that makes sense. And then I got this big beauty here. So this one is, again, another no-name ID. Oh, nope, way too close. Let's see. Oncidium. When I got her, she had 4 spikes. Again, this I got as another anniversary gift to myself from Trader Joe's, believe it or not. She had 4 spikes growing, and when they bloomed, it was just a beautiful show. Again, I'll post some pictures. But she now has a new growth here, and then one that's a little further along. So that's 2. She's got 3 here, and then there's 4, and then there's one more right here you can see the leaves on. That's 5. So she has 5 new growths on her, and she is in a sphagnum and moss mixture. And I let her almost dry out before I water her, just because I don't want to rot any of her good roots that she has. And what I did when I repotted her is I literally just took her out of her media. It was still nice and fresh. It didn't have an odor to it. So I just kind of loosened it a little bit, cut off what roots I could see, put it in here, and she has been going ever since. And then the last one I got is this one here. Again, Brooksides. This is the Cattleya purpurata variation Carnea crossed back to sibling. Let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. And she has white flowers. The sepals and the petals are white. And then she's got this beautiful pink throat. Oh my goodness, I saw it. I said, pink? Why, yes. And then Cattleya, which everyone knows is now a Cattleya, but she's labeled a Cattleya. I will call her a Cattleya. So when she got here, and if I can find the picture, I will show you, but this pseudo bulb right here was super, super wrinkled. It has since plumped up. This growth here was about, let's see, this portion here has grown the extent of what you see here from the dry sheath to the tip of this sheath here. And the leaf looks very pretty. And I have her under the Barina lights so she gets the brightest light. I've been watering her about every other day or so, as I see that these roots are kind of going on the total dry side. Like you can tell there's a little bit of moisture still because it's still kind of stuck, and see how it's kind of white here where it's drying out. So, but she does have new root growth growing right here, and that is why I put her in here. The pot that she came in, this growth was right at the edge of the pot, so I wanted to take advantage of that new root growth. After recently watching a care collab on the Cattleya purpurata, I said, well, take advantage of the root growth, and here we are. So I have back to the original. So she will be going into her soak. I'm going to soak her in 300 parts per million of CalMag and seaweed. It will be 150 of the CalMag and 50 of the seaweed. So that's 200 parts per million, I'm sorry, 200 parts per million. I'll let her soak for a few hours, and then I'll kind of test to see if it'll get loose. If not, I may soak her overnight, and then just try to repot her tomorrow. It'll all depend on what she and her roots decide to do. But I do have my large bark ready, which I ended up having to go and pick up some. I get this from Nick's Nursery as well. It comes pre-mixed like this. And then I can add charcoal, sphagnum moss, or anything else I want to it. And of course, I'm going to have to put her in this pot here, which is a recycled clay pot that has been thoroughly cleaned, sanitized, and soaked. And I'm thinking, because I did kind of do a test set down, so I think she'll have plenty of room to grow in there for a couple of years. All right, guys, well, let me go get her in her soak and get everything else set up, and then I will be back. I don't know if I'll be back later today or if I'll be back tomorrow. Either way it goes, I'll let you know. Till then, you guys be good. All right, welcome back. She's had her soak. It is the same day later on in the day. So, oh, I forgot the scissors. Let me see, they're really close by. I'll be right back. All right, I had left them over where I'd sterilized them earlier. So, here's my plan. So, I'm gonna get her close. As you can see, there's no give to this. Like, there's a wee bit of a give down here, but that's it. Everywhere else it's really, really tight. I'm hoping that that is the indicator that there are lots of roots in here, but we shall see. So my plan is I'm going to take this tag that we would use to name our orchid, and I'm going to go around the edge, but I'm going to use this bigger space right here so I can really see. So I'm going to get behind some of the roots here and see if I can't just get down at least on one side. And then I was going to use the scissors to kind of cut that and protect the root. I hope this works. So keeping in mind, this is where the new growth is on this side. So sorry if my arm is going to be in the way. Oh, this is some thick plastic. Maybe not. I may have to go get a knife. Ah, there we go. All right. Now let's see. Can we just... No. Let's push our tag down some more. Again, to kind of help protect the roots, keeping in mind that my new growth is on this side. And we'll peel this piece away. And we'll kind of go to the side. And it doesn't help that I don't really have a lot of strength in my hands, but let's see if we can just, there we go. All right, I think, there we go. All right, now take that and look there, nice roots in there. All right, now she's at least buckled away on that side. Let's see. All right, so let's see if I do the same thing on this side, if we can at least make a little V shape here. Again, try to get behind the roots to protect the roots. And then where's my new, oh, the new growth is right there. So now I think I'm just gonna hold her. And if the media falls out, it's not a big deal. Make sure I go along where that is. And I would use my snips, but I don't want to dull them up. So there we go. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got in here, guys. Maybe not. I was hoping that I could just snap it. There we go. All right. So you see what I'm talking about with all the roots? I'm trying to keep them because she is a bifoliate, and they are known to drop those roots after a repot. So the goal is to get her out of this pot and then put her in just like this. All right, I think she'll come out now. Let's just gently, there we go. Okay, that was a lot easier than I expected. So it looks like she has some styrofoam at the bottom. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm not going to mess with any of the roots. I am going to spray her with some hydrogen peroxide, go ahead and get our pot with the media and go from there. And if you hear the little pitter patter, that's the little puppies running around. And well, that was a lot easier than I expected. Now my question is though, can I get the tag out? Let's see if we can gently, yep. All right, yay, we have our tag. Let me put her back here. And she has been soaking in 200 parts per million of seaweed and CalMag since this morning. So let's say about 5 hours. But here is, I posted the wrong thing, guys. This is actually what she is. So, RTH Lois McNeil Ace. All right, let me, like I said, spray her down with some hydrogen peroxide, finish getting the media, the pots, get everything ready for the setup, and we'll get her in her new home. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. Now, I know in the beginning of the video I said I was going to put it in this clay pot, but I forgot that I had actually purchased this basket for a different orchid, and it was way too big for the orchid. And I said, I'll keep it for something else instead of returning it. And tell me if you don't think this will look so much cuter. And she'll be able to stay in here for quite a while. Look at all this growth space she has. So if this is 2 plants, she'll have room to expand on both sides. And if it's just 1 plant, still has enough room at least for 2 to 3 years. So we're going to put her in here. The first thing I like to do when I do have the slotted baskets to keep media from falling through the bottom is I just like to add just a small layer of sphagnum moss, and that'll help hold the media in. Some of the sphagnum will fall out, but then eventually it just kind of all settles in. So I just put a little small layer, even though I'm using large bark and perlite mixture, I still don't want any of that to fall through the slat. So we'll do it like that, just a little small, thin little layer on there. And it also helps hold a little bit of humidity at the bottom. All right, and let's put, got my scooper so I can get a little bit more. I'll put a little bit of the media at the bottom just to get her going. And it looks like she's just in bark and perlite, so not going into anything new or different. Excuse me. It's that time of the year where my allergies are starting to really get on fire. So, all right, and like I said, I'm leaving everything in here. I'm not removing any of the roots. Matter of fact, they all look decent. And as we know, most bifoliate cattleyas like to dump their existing root system anyway, so she'll have plenty of roots to get her through until this growth here finishes giving off that new root system. And I'm trying not to touch the roots with my other hand. That's why I have the gloved hand on. Again, because I'm trying to treat her as the diva that they seem to think they are. Okay, I'm just going to fill her around, and then once I'm done, I'll be back with the finished product. All right, I'm just putting the last finishing touches on her. There we go. And if some of the bark looks a little high right here, it probably is, but once I water her a couple of times, everything will settle in. And I think a little more over here. But this way, I haven't really disturbed the roots that much. They're still going in the same mixture that they were used to. And we'll just take the moss that's hanging out up right there. I'll just take the scissors, and if I can do this with one hand, and we'll just snip that so it's not hanging out too far. Like I said, as I water, everything settles. All this will settle as well. Then I'll just snip it, clean it up, give it a little haircut, and I will reuse it. because it hasn't touched the orchid itself yet. So it's still nice and usable. There we go. All right, so here we are. And then I will give her a nice little rinse with just plain filtered water with nothing in it, just to kind of get some of the dust out of here from the bark and the perlite. Put her tag back in after I put the date on it. And we'll have to watch le progress of this big stonker here. And she may give us another offshoot here, but I feel like she's got plenty of room to grow. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen to her. I'm not hanging her yet. I do still have the hanger for this. I'm not going to hang her quite yet. I'm just going to set the basket on my Barina shelf where she's been sitting till she gets a little more established in this pot. I'm going to watch the roots, make sure they don't all decide to go bye-bye too soon. And then from there, I might hang her in a very bright southwest facing window, maybe in that extra bedroom that I've been using this year, and she'll get lots of light in there. But for now, she'll stay where she's been acclimated as far as the light, the temperature, and all that. The media is not much different than what she came in. These are pieces of the bark that were in there, so those are still around the roots that she has. And the new roots will adapt to the slightly larger bark. It's not that much larger. Like, here's kind of a size comparison. So it's not that much larger. There are some pieces that are larger than that, but the new roots will acclimate to the new media while the old roots stay in the media that they're in. Again, that media is not going over, so I feel pretty confident that it's not going to ruin anything. If you guys have any questions and I started saying something and I didn't finish, because I'm prone to do that, let me know down in the comments below if you need any more information. And let me know if you've potted up this way before. And with that, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share if you like, and go ahead and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.